So Doris just needed to be close to her audience to infect them. Contagion through skin. Very disturbing.
This is not a place for you, sir. Don't come over there! There's one of them stairs!
Cannot enter.
Good evening, sir. May I have your attention, please?
Oh, come on, Johnny. Don't you recognize your oldest friend?
Clarence. Clarence Crossley. How are you? My God. So you survived the war too. So sorry I didn't recognize you at first.
I almost didn't recognize you either. War does that to men, I heard. In my case, it was true, for I witnessed the horror that lies underneath.
When did you escape the war and return to London?
You know what's funny? I almost never think about the war. Not anymore. I'm involved in another kind of battle now.
What is this new battle?
I saw terrible things during the war. Horrors I thought I'd forget. They're here too. They're everywhere. Vampires.
I know what you mean. I haven't had much time to think about the war either since my return.
Of course. With the epidemic, I bet you've been busy as well. Forgive me, Johnny, I didn't want to sound selfish.
Clarence, why have you distributed leaflets about vampires all across the West End?
I have to warn everybody about them. They've killed thousands of people already, unnoticed thanks to the epidemic. We are all in danger here.
Vampires in London? Come on, Clarence. Who's going to believe that?
I'm not mad, Jonathan. You have to believe me. I know they are real. They're all around us, even as we speak.
Clarence, you've always been a reliable and a good friend to me. If you say you saw a vampire, then I believe you.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you for your trust. You don't know what that means to me.
It's all right. But if you want my help, you have to explain exactly what happened.
The first time it was in Rouen. I saw an officer drink the blood of a soldier. I saw its teeth, saw it bite. It was a vampire, Johnny, and they're here too.
Tell me what you have discovered about vampires, Clarence.
They've always been here. And if you search for long enough, you realize others know about these devils too. I'm not alone.
Have you shared your research with anybody else?
No. But I've published my leaflets all across the city, hoping that someday someone will realize I'm printing the truth.
What do you mean you're not alone? Who have you met?
The Guard of Prewin, the Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole, Ichabod Throgmorton. Those names always pop up when you dig deep enough.
Have you spoken with any of them?
No. With the quarantine, it's almost impossible to leave the West End. But as a doctor, maybe you could, Johnny.
Are you asking me to help you prove the existence of vampires, Clarence?
Yes, Johnny. Please, gather all the information you can find about vampires and bring it to me. You're the only friend I have left. I need you.
Clarence, tell me about the vampire you saw in France.
I was enjoying my leave in Rouen. I left the bar, took a shortcut back to the barracks. I saw it in a back alley. An officer in a stained uniform, biting into a soldier's neck.
Did you ever see that officer again?
No. He wore the uniform of the Royal Warwickshire Regiment. I did some research but found no trace of him. He probably stole it from a previous victim.
But you were drunk, weren't you? Are you sure these two men were not just kissing?
Please don't insult me, Johnny. I hid, and I saw him leave. Then I saw the body, drained of all blood. I've seen the same marks here in London since I've returned.
How is your wife, Venus?
We've spent so much time away from each other, and so many things have happened.
But you're alive. You returned in one piece and you have a family. How many soldiers can say the same?
Believe me, it's not quite that simple. Unlike you, I'm not the man I used to be.
Is everything all right at home? Surely Venus was relieved to see you return from France in one piece.
Have you forgot what people are like in this part of town, Johnny? Venus fears for our family reputation. Now her husband has become the village idiot.
You need some rest, Clarence. You should try to sleep.
Women die too in this war. Support the equality between men and women.
Elizabeth, what are you doing here?
I've been formally asked to witness your triumph, my dear. After all, isn't it the natural role of a woman to support her man in victory?
But it's you who insisted I join the Ascalon.
Please forgive my giddiness. I'm just overcome by the thrill of finally being allowed within these hallowed halls.
You certainly have an inquisitive mind. It's quite something. Elizabeth Ashbury, only you can make me smile in these difficult times.
And the same to you, Jonathan Reid. Now go have your little chat with the chairman. I can see he's practically bursting to hear your report.
Welcome back to the Ascalon Club, Lance-Bearer. Please tell us the good news. Have you put an end to the epidemic?
My hypothesis was correct. Doris Fletcher was the source of the contagion in this part of town. She was probably the first to be infected.
And you cleansed her before the hunters, I've been told. Well done, Dr. Reid. You thrust your lance and pierced the very heart of the corruption.
But some questions remain.
The important thing is, we won a major battle for the survival of London. For that, we salute you.
Thank you, my lord.
Now, I have another task for you. One of the utmost importance. Perhaps even more so than the previous.
I'm listening.
It's time for you to perform a most sacred duty for the club. I want you to recruit a new vampire.
Recruit a new vampire? Are you sending me on some sort of diplomatic mission?
Not exactly. I want you to make Aloysius Dawson the Ekon he deserves to be.
I'm not sure I'm the best candidate for such a task.
I can hear the hesitation in your voice, Dr. Reid. I admire a man of principles. But in this matter, there is more at stake than your moral comfort.
It's not a moral question, Lord Redgrave. It's the responsibility of giving immortality to a man I barely know.
Nonsense. Aloysius has been a member of the Ascalon for years. This is but the fruition of a long-held plan.
How would you like me to proceed?
Aloysius is waiting for you at the Dawson estate. Once the deed is done, I'll join you there to celebrate this momentous occasion.
Before I go, I have a few questions.
All right, I'm listening.
Why Aloysius Dawson?
Because he's about to die, and he just may be the most influential man in England. After me, of course.
Did he choose me?
No, I did. My decision is very recent, to say the least, but it is entirely mine.
Does he know I'm coming?
He can't wait to become your progeny, Dr. Reid. Especially now that you have shown how strong your lineage is through your sister.
You invited Lady Ashbury. Wouldn't that be breaking one of your cardinal rules? No women allowed.
Not allowed as members, no. But considering the circumstances, I thought you'd like to have her here to witness your triumph.
So it's a temporary admittance, then?
Something of a bargain, considering the crisis we're currently facing.
How would you like me to proceed?
Don't worry. Aloysius has had many years to prepare himself. He has studied our kind for decades.
So shall I just let him drink my blood?
Yes. Aloysius will gratefully sup on your blood. His heart will slow, then stop, but he will rise again as one of us, an immortal.
Is there any danger?
Our blood alters a mortal body so deeply that some don't survive the metamorphosis. They die for good. But Mr. Dawson has been preparing himself for a long time.
Goodbye, Lord Redgrave.
Are you all right, Jonathan?
Lord Redgrave has just ordered me to turn Aloysius Dawson, to make him my progeny.
I see. And how do you feel about this?
I won't do it. The very thought of it makes me sick.
The real question here is, why has his lordship given you this task?
Do you think it's some sort of trap?
Do you really want to know what I think about this?
I do, yes.
To make an immortal of a soulless blackguard like Aloysius Dawson will only lead to a disaster for London. The man is already dead inside.
Should I refuse? Perhaps politely suggest that Lord Redgrave turn the man into a vampire himself.
Don't you dare, my dear. According to what I've recently discovered, his lordship could kill you for even broaching the subject.
Really? Why?
I've recently found proof that the Earl of Bristol is of lesser lineage and only capable of creating skulls.
Please tell me more about your recent investigation.
As long as you lower your voice.
What would happen if I made Dawson an Ekon like myself?
You would add a powerful immortal into a suffering world. An immortal who already craves authority.
Maybe I could teach him control, like you taught me. Lead him down the right path.
Mr. Dawson spent his life searching for a way to cheat death. I'm sure he has spent decades dreaming of how he'd spend eternity as a tyrant.
Are you sure your information about Redgrave is correct? He says he's the progeny of the great knight William Marshall, who lived some 9 centuries ago.
That's a lie. Lord Redgrave is unable to create anything but skulls, if the poor souls survive at all.
How can you be sure the information was correct?
I made the acquaintance of a most interesting informer while investigating your maker, from whom I learned the truth about Lord Redgrave.
Why so vindictive? You suddenly sound like you're angry.
Forgive me, Jonathan. I hate myself for it, but I feel such pride in my discovery. I'm afraid I just can't help it.
Which is?
He did serve William Marshall. And yes, the blood he covets as a token does truly belong to that legendary knight. But he was never his progeny. His lineage is not so noble.
What would you have me do about Dawson?
The man is dangerous. Did you know he plans to build a wall to separate the healthy rich from the sickly poor? Do not make him your progeny.
What would you do?
The man's dying already. Let the reaper harvest the rotten fruit that is his soul.
Goodbye for now, Elizabeth.
Goodbye, my dear. Please, be careful.
It looks like vampires have to obey Mendel's laws when producing progeny. Powers pass from one generation to another. That's why Dawson wants me to sire him. A restaurant where the guests are blindfolded before being seated. Intriguing.
Are you deaf? Watch yourselves! There's one of them! Step away, sir.
It's locked, all right. I should find another way to get into the neighborhood. I think this passage could lead me close to Aloysius Dawson's mansion.
Stupid news!
I have this thirst for blood.
Kneel, traitor!
It's locked. I cannot enter. believe I'm doing this. Thirst for blood. Dawson's mansion. Here I am at last. But the question remains, Am I ready to make a dying man my progeny? It's locked, all right.
Finally, you're here, Dr. Reid. What took you so long? I had to pass several of your barricades and outposts to access your mansion, sir. Death, pestilence surround us, and time is against me. I see you've gathered some of the most expensive, albeit experimental, blood transfusion equipment available. All this could be so useful in a hospital. Yes. Since Lord Redgrave sent me a doctor to perform my conversion, I thought you might find some of these devices useful. Most thoughtful. But tonight I'm not here as a physician. But I feel reassured that a specialist such as yourself would help me to escape the Reaper. Very well. But before I proceed, I have a few questions for you. If you must, but be quick, for I don't have much time left in this life. First of all, I need to be sure that you know exactly what is going to happen to you, sir. I can assure you I'm as informed as any man can be. I have planned for this moment, Dr. Reid. Planned very carefully. So I'm going to end your life. Do you not wish to discuss the procedure for even a minute? I don't have a minute to indulge in idle chatter. I can't feel my legs, and the cold, so cold. I will become your maker. Do you understand what that means? Well, I certainly won't consider you my liege or some such drivel. You can be assured of that. You'll need to feed on warm blood. Blood from mortals. How do you feel about that? I'm rich, Dr. Reid, and powerful. I'm sure I'll be able to acquire all the blood I need without ever having to sully my own hands. What do you know about the Guard of Priwen? What I do know is that I'll crush anyone or anything that would dare to oppose me. Let's move on then. Please, I'm cold and tired. I feel my life waning with every moment. But first, before you embrace immortality, what would you do with such a gift? That's a rather impertinent question, Dr. Reid. And I will do as I please. Answer me all the same. What will your first action be as an immortal? To save London. I will finance the most efficient quarantine ever seen. I will build a wall that will separate the sick boroughs from the healthy ones. Who gave you the right to decide the fate of thousands of people? My money. My money and my pending immortality gives me the needed authority, Doctor. I'm a businessman. I'm used to tough decisions. You really plan to build a quarantine wall across London? Yes, it will be tall and strong, separating the wheat from the chaff. By doing so, you will also create two separate prisons.
Come, sir. An eminent doctor like yourself knows that such radical measures have proved efficient in the past.
Let me guess. You mean to isolate the rich from the poor.
This is a desperate measure for desperate times. England must prevail, Doctor, no matter the cost.
Quarantine is not a bad idea, medically speaking, but I'm convinced this epidemic will not be contained by mere walls.
As long as the right people are on the right side of the wall, that's all that matters.
But you can't guarantee infection will not spread. Just one contagious carrier would be enough to create an apocalypse.
The apocalypse is already knocking at the gate. We must be strong now.
What if a new outbreak happens inside your walls? You'll have created a giant trap.
That won't happen, as long as we dispose of anyone that is contaminated as soon as they are spotted.
I've heard enough. It's time to proceed.
At last! All right, do what you have to do. If it hurts, so be it. I've been preparing such a long time for this.
You don't deserve immortality, Mr. Dawson.
What? What are you prattling on about?
I don't believe I've ever met a man so bereft of empathy. You, sir, are despicable.
No! Wait! You can't! I made a deal with Lord Redgrave. I'll finance whatever he wants. Please, just ask him.
Sleep now. Rest now. Forever.
I would have lived forever. Who are you to decide my fate? Who gave you the authority?
Is it done, Dr. Reid? Is Aloysius Dawson reborn as expected?
Alas, Aloysius Dawson was not brought back to life after his death. The man is gone.
What? What happened?
He didn't survive the procedure. He was too weak.
This is unacceptable, nevertheless. You were given the simplest task.
Well, get rid of me then.
From now on, you're an outcast. Banished. You are forbidden to ever appear in front of us again. Ascalon will smite you on sight, and your heart will be thrown to the rats.
I'll leave you then. Have fun with your puppets and shadow plays, Lord Redgrave.
Yes, go, traitor, and take that awful creature, that counterfeit of a woman I saw waiting for you, and be gone!
Step away, traitor. Return to your dubious friends and your decrepit hospital. Do not dare show yourself again, you or that monstrosity you bring to my door.
We meet again at the strangest of times, young Ekon. So do you serve the Earl of Bristol now?
Old Bridget. What are you doing here?
Your friend, the wise Ekon. She sent me to warn you.
Lady Ashbury. You know her. Tell me what's going on.
The lady approached me but a few nights ago, wanting to meet the sewer skulls. Once she questioned Harriet Jones. She agreed to help us.
Harriet Jones is still with you then? How is she doing?
Harriet remains angry, but is recovering slowly. Her mind is twisted, but at least her body is healing.
Tell me what is going on.
The lady asked us to keep an eye on your mortal doctor friend while you were away. We spotted the hunters. They were discussing plans to attack tonight.
Wait, slow down. I need to ask you something.
I'm listening, but I do not have time to waste, so be quick.
Where is Lady Ashbury right now?
She said she will go home. She needed to speak with some old friends first, though. Do not worry, young Ekon. She is no fool, and just as strong as you.
Why do I feel like Lord Redgrave was particularly irritated to see you? Far more so than the average Skull, if I may say.
Because I used to know him quite well, and he is afraid I may remember who he really is.
You're Elizabeth's informant. You're the one who told her about Lord Redgrave's lies regarding his lineage.
Yes, but my words were not meant to hurt or threaten. I simply told the story of the sewer skulls, and of so many other forgotten children.
How did Elizabeth find you?
She presented herself humbly at our gate, and asked if we knew of any ancestral vampires hiding in London. She asked about Ascalon. She asked about many things.
Why did she come to you?
I am old Bridget, the buried memory of the city. She sought the silent truths. Truths I have kept hidden for so long.
What do you think of her?
Her soul is good, yet tainted with a deep sadness and the scars of ancient wounds. Time does that to us immortals, for we have so much to dwell upon.
No time to lose then. I must go there right away.
I shall return to my den. Have you a message for the lady? Should I see her before you?
Yes. Tell her I love her.
Is this still unknown to her? Go now and take care, young Ekon, for the flames are rising.
May I come in?
Sure. Sure.
Even my dreams are soaked with gloom.
It's locked.
As long as you have the money.
Believe I'm doing this. This is despicable.